All right, let's engrave around a cylinder using a rotary axis, the A-axis. So let's draw a circle here. We'll get out into planes, and we'll get into the left side on C and T, and then we'll end up drawing a circle. Okay, and like I said before, I recommend go into 2D mode. It'll help you make sure you're not drawing skewed. Draw at the center, come out, and let's just do a diameter of 2 inches. Let's go into levels now and just rename this as stock. All right, and let's extrude this to make a cylinder. So we'll chain this up and send it that way, and let's just make it 2 inches. Doesn't really matter. Okay, there's our stock. So now let's do we'll end up doing a new level now, and this will be, I guess we can just call it engrave. All right, and what I want to do is I'm going to end up hiding the stock. All right, and I am just going to go back into planes and make sure that top view is everything. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to position my engraving. So I'm going to draw just a quick line, and the line will be like a 1/4 inch in from the side. So if I get in a wireframe, I just draw a line from the center out, click, and just type 1/4 inch. You'll see we have a quick line, and that'll be used to help us locate our engraving. So now what we need to do is we need to actually create some letters. So we'll go to create letters, and what I want to do is let's just type in HVCC. All right, and I want to go into advanced and go into note text. All right, the text height for this is going to be, let's say, 1/2 inch. You can change the spacing and things here too. I want to end up going into just stick font for this. This would treat the machine like a pencil, just to keep it simple. The angle is going to be -90, and the alignment is going to be center. All right, so you see that's where our 0 is going to snap to. That's what we're going to get to drag in a minute, but you can tweak that as you want. But I drew that line at the center of rotation, and that'll position this engraving evenly on the top portion of this workpiece. So -90 should be good. We'll hit green check, and I'm not going to leave it default. I'm just going to hit no, and this will be for this session only, and you'll see our engraving. Now see, we are sort of chained to the bottom here, or our anchor point for this engraving is in the center. So let's click the end of our line. All right, and we'll hit green check. So on this level we have our engraving, and there's our stock. Now I know it doesn't look right. The engraving is not around this at all, although that is an option. I'm going to pause here, and we'll work on learning about axis substitution. Alright, so we'll leave the engraving on for now, and we'll also turn the stock on. So we'll go to toolpaths, and I'm just going to go to machine. I'm going to pick my generic Haas 4-axis mill. Alright, and I am going to do this toolpath group. I'm going to rename this as stock. And I am going to do a new toolpath group, and this will be engraving. Okay, so we'll get back into stock, get our little red leader line here below stock. I'm going to do a stock model. Just name it stock from the model. All right, and you know, it could be red, whatever you like. And some people like it turn it into glass, so it's a little transparent, but that's up to you. So there's our stock. We'll turn that off. Okay, so now we have a stock model to work with. You could always go into stock setup and do that. It's up to you. You know, as you program a part, but for this model, make sure you do this stock model type. All right, I'm going to assign tool numbers sequentially for this one, and warn of duplicate tool numbers. We'll hit green check. Now I'll cursor down, and we're getting to engraving. So let's just go. I'm going to get into planes, or I'm sorry, levels here, and turn stock off. Now I am going to double check one thing before I do that. I will go into home. I'm going to go to analyze entity, select the circle, and it is a 2-inch diameter stock. So remember that. Turn the stock off. We're going to go into toolpaths now, and we're going to go into contour. Okay, so make sure that it is underneath engraving. I'm going to go to the top view. I'm going to select window and select all of this, and then it's going to prompt you to select a base point. So just select like the bottom of the H, and it'll automatically chain everything. That's how I typically do engraving like this. There are other options. You can chain them individually. It's up to you, but this is the way I recommend. We'll hit green check. And now we're in a regular contour path, so we'll treat this like a normal engraving style tool path. Let's get in here and let's just grab a 1/8 inch 90. That'll work right there. Okay, so a green check. And the speeds and feeds are relevant for this one. This is supposed to be engraving. All right. Cut parameters. We're going to do off. All right. There'll be no depth of cuts. Lead in, lead out will be off. And everything else is off. We're just using the machine as a pencil for this. Now, linking parameters. Okay. You have to treat this like it's flat. You don't treat it like it's rotation. So everything here can be left. We can turn clearance on. That's fine. Okay. And you could go incremental. That's fine too. We'll leave it like that. We'll go to depth. And we'll go negative 30 thou. All right. Everything else will be fine except we need to get in down here and go to axis control, rotary axis control on the bottom. We're going to select axis substitution. We're going to substitute the y-axis, should be counterclockwise, and the rotary diameter is 2 inches. Make sure unroll is unchecked. It should be by default, but make sure it's unchecked. So take a look at the screen, make sure you have all this, and hit green check. And when we go isometric now, you'll see that this part, it actually rolled the engraving. Alright, so now let's take a look at this in Verify. We'll go to our Verify settings, set stock model as the stock, and that's fine. We'll hit green check. Now, if we go into Verify, alright, I'll maximize this so you can see. I don't really care. I'll go to tool components, I'll get rid of the holder. I don't really care about that for this. Okay. And I'm going to slow this down. And we'll actually see this cut on the diameter. See it moving around? Okay. So there's our engraving around a cylinder using the A-axis on the machine for 4th axis engraving. Alright, let's take a look at our code. So I'll post this operation. I'll take a look at what's going on here. So you'll see we have our notes, and then we have first a location for the H portion, wrapping to Z3, going to Z 200 thousandths above the workpiece. I gotta remember this is coming from center. Then we have a 0.97. All right, that's our depth. All right, cutting the H, coming back up, coming over. All right, wanted to retract, cutting plane again with an A move now, wrap it up, and so on, and then you get into the C's later on. Okay, so the lines of code for the C. Okay, there's our simultaneous A moves. So that'll be the first sort of example of simple simultaneous 4th axis work. Again, we're not using any really sort of advanced toolpath at this point. We're not using any of these multi-axis toolpaths here. We are just using simple contour, and the ticket here is we end up using rotary axis control to spin, all right, our 2D geometry about a diameter that we call out of 2 inches. Okay, so that's it for this one. Hope you learned something.